Gaming news today is, well, it's kind of all over the place, and this show is going to be all over the place. We want to try something new, so if you're watching this back later or you're listening to this on the various podcast platforms that it hits, when the news is a little slow or we don't necessarily feel like there's really big lead stories, we thought maybe we would do something a little more freeform. If you're familiar with the morning coffee segment that we do for members, that's kind of what that stream turns into. And there's a lot of things going on. I mean, Hellblade 2 got announced for PlayStation. It was also announced that it would be getting 60 FPS on all of the consoles except for the Series S, which really calls into question some of the discussions about that game before it launched on the Xbox. We also have a game called Peak, which is hilarious and co-op and fun. It's sort of taking the world by storm. Another little scrappy, fun indie title with like a crazy million amount of sales, or maybe even more by now, and we can look at that. There's the Stop Killing Games controversy. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I did a pretty good amount of looking into that this morning, so I can speak to it with a relative amount of authority and inform you on what's going on there with Stop Killing Games, the movement, and then why everybody's angry at Pirate Software again. Thor continuing to kind of step in it, and he's once again made everybody really angry. So there's a lot to talk about, but I'm not going to belabor the point. We're just going to sort of start talking with the chat on both Team Purple and Team Red. We're a little behind on goal for that Friday night stream. It might get shifted to Saturday. I'm not sure. It depends on what you guys want to do with the goal and the incentive, so we'll see. If you're watching or listening to this later, please consider hitting subscribe and the bell button, or you can follow and watch on Purple as well. But the best way to enable me to do this full time is to support directly with some type of a membership. We have the $6 Member Plus membership on YouTube. That gets you into the green room. That gets you into morning coffee, Friday night streams with my wife. Over there on Team Purple, if you're using your Primes or your subs, you'll never see an ad. So we greatly appreciate you guys. We greatly appreciate all the things that you do to support us. So let's just get into it. We don't need to belabor the point. That's like a 2-minute show open. So let's just get to chatting about everything that's going on. Do me a favor, go through the ritual though on YouTube of hitting the like button. That will help this video find some more folks, and it is very much like the title is literally just gaming news today, like reacting to gaming news. STK, Stop Killing Games versus Thor is big right now. Yeah, and thank you, Biggie Smalls. Han shot first, and so did you. First gifted member of the day for Team Red. And then Wired Rope's going to come right behind that with a 5-bomb over there on the Purple platform and gets us to 42. And so that is going to maintain their lead. It's 13-1. So we'll see if Team Red allows for that to happen. The 500 goal unlocks the Friday night stream with Madam. And if we manage to get the stretch goal, we're going to make her play Death Stranding, okay? So thank you so much. What's the too long didn't read on the Killing Games thing? So I responded to Mighty Keef. He asked for a too long didn't read, and I thought what I wrote's pretty good. So I'm just going to pull that up and read it to you. I'm trying to be diplomatic here. I'm not trying to jump on the hate train of Thor. I know what that's like when, you know, people look at you in the worst way possible. I do think he's made some mistakes and did some things here that should be, you know, accepted and apologized for, and even sort of held accountable for. But this is essentially what I said. The movement wanted to start a conversation that could lead to better consumer protection laws with respect to games that become inaccessible due to a variety of issues. DRM that might expire, live service games that shut down, unfair TOS that is sort of in the position where the consumer doesn't have any power. Like, they can just turn the game off at any point in time. So it was trying to start a conversation that would then sort of, you know, behoove law to be made to protect consumers. It was an effort to bring about more protection of the consumer. Now, Pirate Software, aka Thor, which I have always liked him. I've never had an issue with him. I watched a bunch of videos recently about the whole drama that happened with him in the hardcore raid. I feel like that was largely blown out of proportion. I feel like he could have minimized it a little early on with just being like, hey, you know, I messed up, my bad. But he didn't see it that way, and it sort of made things worse, and it shouldn't have gotten to the point that it did. It was pretty much blown out of proportion, but he didn't, I don't think, handle it in the best way. And I think he admitted that he didn't handle it the best way, but by the time that happened, it was kind of too late. Now, Pirate Software, aka Thor, did a stream, and he also made a video about the Stop Killing Games movement. He'd made it about 10 months ago, and I say he seemingly misunderstood aspects of the movement. Now, people don't like my phrasing here. They feel that it was a willful misrepresentation of the movement. I didn't watch enough to be persuaded that he was like, oh, I'm going to mislead everybody about this. I don't know if it was willful. He seems really to misunderstand, and then seemingly kind of doubled down on an upload. Okay, now this inadvertently misled a lot of people about it, and many see this as playing like a big role in hurting the Stop Killing Games movement. He made it sound like they were worried about single-player games with DRM. He also made it sound like, expecting a company to make a live service game, a single-player game, is ridiculous. And he gave the example of like a Final Fantasy XIV. He's like, what are you going to make all the raids soloable? Which, again, is a misunderstanding of what the movement was about. They've always said that they just want you to hand over the live service aspect so that people could set up private servers. Now, Asmongold reacted to this, and I agree exactly with what Zach said, because I've said this before as well, expecting a company to hand over essentially the code of their game when there is proprietary stuff in there, as well as potential security measures that they don't want you to know about, because that kind of opens up the game for other problems if they do future games in the future. So I think that's an unfair expectation to just be like, hey, you built a live service game, we're entitled to it for forever because we spent $60 one time, and so we're entitled to the code, we're entitled to be able to do private servers, right? But this is getting down into the minutia, and Thor, again, seemed to not really understand, and his video and stream hurt the movement, is what many people think. Okay, now the movement is in its final stretch, and it seems to be headed for failure, and folks are very mad at Pirate Software, and he has not acknowledged that he got aspects of the movement wrong. So he has owned the fact that he was unkind to the guy that was sort of like leading the movement. He owned that, and he apologized for that, but he seemingly hasn't like owned up to the fact that like in the early stages of this movement, he just did not talk about it in a way that was accurate, and it upset it's let me change the chat to not be sub only. He and it made people basically go against the movement, right? I don't know how many people, the argument would have to be made that because his video got like millions of views, I guess you'd have to argue that those people would have signed the thing. There's, I guess, in the final throes of it now, if you sign this thing, if they can get 1 million signatures on this petition, it can do something in like European governance where they're actually going to have to consider it. So it seems he has a hard time admitting he's wrong about something. I mean, I watched his interaction with it was like a therapist, and I really resonated with Thor. Like, I definitely saw where he made mistakes. It's easy to do that from the outside, right? But I resonated with the idea of like, he didn't want to just say sorry so that it would all go away if he didn't actually truly meant it. Like, I think he genuinely thought like, I didn't do anything wrong here. Everybody's mad and trying to blame me now, which again was not an accurate representation. They weren't trying to blame him. The guys in the raid group seemingly were the most upset at the fact that like, he just wouldn't accept any accountability. Like, I guess he used the wrong Frost ability, which used too much of his mana. If he would have used the lower cost one, it might have helped or something. Everybody was doing like the hindsight 2020 Monday morning quarterback on the gameplay. Like, in the heat of the moment, he hit the wrong key, I guess. Some guy called for a run, he ran or whatever. And that is like, that's just sort of the seedbed for this, I think. The seedbed for this is everybody now has decided, not everybody, but like lots of people have decided that, oh, well, he's a narcissist and he's full of himself and he's got an ego and he can't admit when he's wrong, right? So that's the seedbed for when this happens. Now everybody's like, oh, well, this movement would have had a better shot and a better chance if you wouldn't have made that video, if you wouldn't have, misrepresented the movement. I don't know how much of a causality he was in the movement failing. I think at the very least, he could just own up to the fact that, like, in his initial stream and video about it, he didn't represent what they were trying to do. Like, the guy that is kind of in charge of the movement, he didn't really address Thor's video back then because he didn't want it to become like a YouTuber drama thing. He just wanted to focus on the movement. And now that it's sort of at the tail end of things, he's like, okay, well, I want to address what he said. So he literally reacts to what Thor says, and he just points out very clearly that, like, he doesn't have the information. He doesn't have the information accurately here. Which is unfortunate because I have argued myself that we need better consumer protections. I think the biggest thing we need protected from is our inability to return the product. I think is ridiculous. I think that is far more important than, like, the very small smattering of games that, like, you may or may not lose access to. I think, like, one of the parts of stop killing games that I don't agree with is asking a live service game to tell you when the game will end. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think you can ask a company to do that. There's no way to know. Like, you could launch a live service game tomorrow and it only runs for 18 months because something bigger and better came out, or maybe they ran into problems, or, you know, maybe the landscape of gaming just shifted on them, so the live service game plummets in engagement, they're not making enough money, and they have to shut it down. There's no way for them to give you that assurance that it's going to, you know, well, you can at least know you can play this for 18 months. So I think, you know, if I believe the best about Thor, I think what he was trying to do in the early stages was say what you should be focusing on are games that don't require online, that can just be taken from you in the future because of DRM or whatever. I feel like that's what he was attempting to do. He did it rather poorly. He was trying to say, if you expect live service games to do this, he shouldn't have argued like making a live service game single player. All he had to do was argue the point that Asmongold argued, which is asking a company to hand over their code so that you can set up your own private servers. That's a really big ask of, like, any game that ever decides to do live service apparently would have to do this if these folks got their way. Well, then that would basically fundamentally end any attempt at live service from games like smaller studios. Like, if you're a big fan of Splitgate 2, like a smaller company trying to do something like that, the idea that, like, the impetus would be on them to preemptively either tell you when the game's going to end, which is impossible for them to do, so that's unreasonable, or they have to commit to giving you their code so that you can set up your own private servers in the future if they ever go belly up. Like, asking them to do that is, I think, again, that's undue. I wouldn't call it undue harm, but it just doesn't seem to be a reasonable expectation. So I think that's what Thor was attempting to argue rather poorly, and he ended up misrepresenting the movement in the process. I think what he was trying to say is, you should be focusing on this. You should be trying to protect against this. You're never going to win this front. You're never going to get a live service studio to agree to this, or you're just going to essentially kill live service games in general. Like, you're not going to get them to hand things over to you or to tell you in their TOS, this is the end of life date for our live service game. Like, there's no way. And that would be honestly probably pretty destructive to the game. Oh, you already know when you're going to kill the game? Well, why would I want to play your game then? Like, that, I don't think you can have that in the TOS. Thank you, Joker Quinn, for gifting a member over here on Team Red. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. We are trying something a little bit different today. We are just going off the cuff, whatever's coming up, whatever's going on in gaming, we're talking about it. And right now I'm just kind of catching you guys up on what's been going on with the stop killing games thing and why everybody's mad at Thor. You paid for access and they hold the key. Well, the one aspect that I did agree with was a term of service that basically says we can revoke your access or shut everything down whenever we want, right? I definitely think there are elements of these EULAs, these end-user license agreements, and these terms of service, these TOSs. I think there are elements of them that are completely ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't just be able to be like, we don't like you, you're banned. Like what happened to me with Destiny. I actually think that should be, that at some level that should be civilly actionable, that you've invested all this time and money into a game. You've lived a life in this game. You've got money and you've got microtransactions and you've got content that you paid for. And they're like, well, we don't like what you're saying on your YouTube channel or Twitter. We've deemed it worthy of banning you. It's like, wait, what? So I lost access to content that I had spent thousands, and I mean thousands of hours in, and I lost access to content and microtransactions and microtransaction currencies that I spent money on, and I didn't break any of the rules. It wasn't like I was cheating. It's okay, I think, to ban a cheater because they are actively breaking the rules and harming the experience of other players. I did not do that. So, I was watching a live stream earlier on YouTube. I played an ad, but on the side, not completely interrupt the stream. I'd never seen that before. Even identified it as non-interruptive. I mean, I could try and turn it on now, and you guys could let me know. Guys, we need the first 100 likes on the video. We've only been live for about 15 minutes. Try to go crazy on that. I'll do it automatic medium, and we'll just see. Guys, let me know where they show up. There's also facts he told his community to basically attack the movement, as well as calling the guy in charge of it multiple names. He apologized for calling him multiple names. 10 months later, or it might have not been 10 months later. I don't know when he called him names, but he did apologize for, calling him names. I didn't see evidence of him telling people to attack the movement. There was evidence of him saying he was encouraging people to not support the movement, which he is well within his rights to do that. He is. He's well within his right to basically say, yeah, I don't think you guys should support the movement. He's allowed to say that. Thank you, Dan, for a Member Plus renewal, and for Barrett's Chosen for a Member Plus renewal. That's a perfect renewal right there. We are at 245. We are exactly a 5-bomb away from the next milestone. Whoever hits it gets it. I'll owe you guys members. Whoever makes this thing hit 250, and we'll be halfway to the goal for the week. You guys are going to need to step it into high gear if you're going to hit that weekly goal. We've not missed that goal for I don't even know how long. Let me snooze my ring. It's driving me nuts again. The kiddos might be playing outside or something. I'm not sure. That should count as 2. Oh, you upgraded from a free membership? Then I will count it as 2. Thank you very, very much for doing that. We need more and more people to do that. Upgrade from gifted to member plus. That is a huge need on the YouTube channel. That is a massive issue that we've been facing for a long time. Did my Prime sub count? I did it during morning coffee. I don't see you on my dashboard. You might have to refresh to celebrate it, Pablo. It doesn't show up on my dashboard if you don't celebrate it. So, the issue is, this is the issue. This is the issue with this stop killing games thing. I really worry that we're focusing on the wrong thing. Like, I don't think, focusing on pirate software makes any sense at this point. Like, yes, tell him, hey, Thor, it'd be really nice, if you kind of had some accountability here, owned up to where you got elements of the thing wrong, make a new video describing it as it actually is, and then let the public determine whether or not they want to support it. Don't choose a side. That would be my encouragement to Thor, would be like, your best course of action right now would be to make a new video, describe the movement as accurately and as factually as you can, and don't choose a side. Say, listen, I've given you my view on this. I'm not choosing a side. You guys can choose whether or not to support it. Now, I'm not saying that would make everybody leave him alone and all of a sudden everybody would love him again, but I think that would be the appropriate response at this point. To go live, talk about it, read through the movement word for word, represent the movement accurately, okay, and then just let people decide on their own. He does not have to support the movement. He simply has to, I think, correct the public record. I'm very, you guys know this, I'm a huge proponent of correcting the public record. If you get something wrong, if you say something false, it should be corrected. That's what I think should happen. Not necessarily even for his career. I think he should do it because I believe there is a moral imperative on him as a public person, as someone who speaks with authority and a very big reach, I believe there is a moral imperative on him to correct the public record. That moral imperative lands on everybody, by the way. That's not just him. Anybody who gets something incorrect should correct it. We've done that here. I'm like, oh, we had that wrong. I didn't realize. My bad. And I'll just quickly read the facts. Like the other day when I wasn't sure the distribution of VR was that good, and then we looked at the numbers, and I rate that in there, said, oh, I had it wrong. Yeah, VR actually has had very stronger distribution than I thought. And we read the numbers of the lifetime sales of the VR headsets that we found through the sales analysis that was out there. I got to thank some people. A $5 super chat from Frank says, keep on keeping on, thank you. And Pablo renews with a Prime. And Stoffinator renews with a Prime. And Buddy, that milestone's just dangling there. We are now at 248. We are 2 members away from the next milestone. All right, I don't know who this is, but we don't need you to be here. First time ever being here and just spamming the chat with nonsense, so have a nice day. The increasing liquid metal issue only affecting PS5 or the PS5 Pro or both. I bought Pro 3 months ago. I'm not seeing any widespread reports of that. I've seen one single video with one developer claiming that they were in a Reddit thread and a Discord, and people were claiming that it was happening. I don't think that's compelling. I don't. We would 5 years into the gen, if this was a widespread issue, it would be all over the place. We would know about it. It would be everywhere. There would be a massive amount of reports. And Raphael does a single, and Broken Earth does a single, and you guys have secured the 250 for Team Red, for Team YouTube. There it is. And the member battle continues to trundle along. Currently, Team Purple in the lead, 15-7. Let me go ahead and give the ones here to those that earned it. Thank you so much, YouTube. And we're going to do a 5. Your thoughts on the kill switch case that breaks the Joy-Cons? I saw a video last night. I couldn't figure out what was happening. What does it do? And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master over here on Team Purple. Now, that's another setup, and I respect that setup. That's a 20 bomb setup. So if somebody right now drops a 20 bomb, that gets us all the way to the next milestone, which is 275, and we need it. We are really behind pace this week, so we'll see if any of the big boys step up on either platform this week and start claiming some of those milestones. Thank you so much, Siege Master, for setting that up. You got a full screen one, Wilbur? Okay, I'm shutting it off. Yeah, back to not doing it. I tried it. I just now tried the automated ads, and if you're going to get full screen ones that disrupt, I'm shutting it off. And Broken comes in with the 10 bomb and gets us halfway there. 265. Thank you so much, sir. I greatly appreciate that. And a 20 bomb comes in from Siriu, and that's more than we need, all the way to 285. Thank you so much, Siriu. Greatly appreciate that. Guys, make sure and say thank you to the people who are gifting those members. And as always, one of the most important things we are working on is get out of the gifted pool and make room for others. Get out of that pool. You can upgrade to Member Plus. Upgrade. It's a $6 membership, and you get in all the extra content. Sirius says, just had to one-up me. Yeah, he did, Broken Earth. Tim the Tapman says that gaming streamers might be cooked. What's old Timmy Tender saying this for? Let's see. He says, and a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master over here on Team Red. Hang on, we got to add up. This is going to be a 37 from the 30 that you guys just dropped, but then a 5 is going to come in and make it 42. And just like that, Team Purple gets left in the dust. And that's going to be now a 10 bomb away from the next milestone. Purple, you could definitely steal this. Let's see if anybody takes it. So let's see what he's saying here. He says, the biggest streamers don't even game anymore. IRL is king now. That's the reality. Oh, he says gaming streamers on Team Purple might be cooked. I don't know. My general experience here with streaming over the years, and a single comes in from PWH Town. Thank you so much, and gets us a little bit closer. My thought on streaming and like content metas is that it always, and he does a 10 bomb right after Agents of Chaos 10 bomb. What a madman. And he takes us to 3-0-1. He was just baiting. He was like, well, I'm going to make purple think they have a shot. He's right. No, they're just going to kick. Here's the thing. I think there are always going to be metas within content creation. And I said a while ago that I thought the future of live streaming was more highly curated content. So like segments with a set and a concept, and like everybody kind of knows what to expect when they tune in. It's not just like somebody playing a game or whatever, okay? Now that has largely come true. My prediction has largely come true. Some of the biggest streamers, like if you think about things that like Kai Cenat has done, you think about some of the things that like Ludwig has done, that's what they're doing. They're doing like, you know, more highly produced, curated content. They're creating, you know, a segment or a show or a game show or a contest, and people are turning in for the spectacle, whether it's Kai dressed up as Radon and he's going to play Elden Ring, or, you know, it's some kind of a game show or contest that Ludwig has done. I think that has largely come true. I said that that was going to be the next big wave within content creation because it was getting very stale. Everybody was doing the same thing, just sitting in the corner playing a video game and talking. That's not that entertaining. The early adopters can continue to get away with that, right? These guys that got to the platform first, they have volume, they've got more money than they need, so they just can phone it in. They've earned that right. I said the hungry people, the people that are hungry, the people that are innovative, they're the ones that are going to win the streaming war. The ones that say, let's make something more entertaining. Let's make it more of a spectacle. Let's make something that is more, you know, organized. And I believe that has largely come true. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that it stays there, right? This is typically what happens with entertainment mediums. You keep raising the ceiling of intensity, you keep raising the ceiling of innovation, of entertainment, and then you start to come back down on the other side. I think this is generally true for streamers. You see streamers kind of have their big explosive rise, and then they come back down the other side, whether it's Ninja, Dr. Disrespect. Now, some of this is self-inflicted, right? We know that like Doc self-inflicted harm on his own career in multiple ways. We know this recently happened with Dr. Lupo, likely has hurt his career rather significantly. And seemingly, if you watch Carl Jobs' video on the situation, Lupo still hasn't really told the whole truth about the situation. At least that's how it seems to me. Still kind of holding on to half-truths about it, wanting to like maintain, you know, like a persona. And that'll damage your career, right? I don't think Ninja did anything to like damage his career. You just kind of come back down the other side. That will happen to I Show Speed. That will happen to Kai, right? You will sort of go up and have your peak, and you'll start to come back down. Now you're going to fight for that to not happen. You're going to try and do something crazier and do something bigger and do something more outlandish, right? So that the slope doesn't start to happen, but it's going to happen no matter what. I think entertainment mediums and metas go through the exact same thing. So the big thing right now is you have guys watching, you know, world events, political things, right? And they're reacting, they're interacting, they're commentating, they're dialoguing about it. And that's the big meta now. And that's sort of intermingled with streamer drama. Like they're like attacking each other, they're going after each other. Like Tectone just got banned again. Seemingly from the video I watched of him talking about it, it seems like it is once again completely unjust. I don't know if it'll even stick. So that's another meta that's going on, right? Well, I think all of that will run out of gas, and then a new meta will emerge. So I don't think gaming is off the table per se. Like, I don't think gaming streamers and people streaming gameplay is off the table, but you've got to find a way to make it more entertaining. You've got to find a way to innovate. So you're going to have to come up with ways that there could be room here for, and John Lepkowski with a single, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Maybe you include the audience. Maybe the audience can vote on things. Maybe the audience can, be involved in some way. I don't have the answer. I just don't think that gaming streaming is done. It's cooked. The hot tub meta was here and gone. The really pervy ASMR thing's kind of here and gone. I mean, people are still doing it. But not to the degree that it was at one time. So I don't think Tim's correct. I don't think gaming streamers are done or cooked or whatever. I just think we're going through another meta. The pendulum always swings. I don't feel like the pendulum stays in one position. It always goes back and forth. Yeah, I mean, there was a gold rush on OnlyFans, and now I don't think most people are having great success on OnlyFans because it's become incredibly saturated. It's so saturated that that's all Twitter's overrun with now. Are every single tweet you click on, it is just the replies are nothing but that, OnlyFans, models trying to get subscribers. So yeah. So when we lower the bit rate, you guys can't do 720. Well, I'm fine with that. I made a change in OBS because we were using way too much bit rate. I was getting encoding errors when we tried to do something significant. So I lowered it. Gaming is basically the backbone of streaming. I mean, it is and it isn't. I do think you're going to see, I don't know. I think you're going to continue to see things shift and change. You just are. We're calling them models now. I mean, I don't feel like it's beneficial to get into a contest of what's the most disparaging thing you can say about people that choose to do that. I think that rather than be antagonistic to them, I feel a great sense of empathy and sadness for them, because I feel like it's a very bad idea. You can't take it back. I've seen people go from I'm only going to do this, and then that line moves because the money starts to dry up, right? Well, I'm only going to do spicy content, and then the spicy content becomes more, and then more, and then more, and then you've now gone back on your what was at one time a conviction and a matter of morals or ethics, and you've gone back on that. I think that can really carve out a person's soul. I think it's very dangerous. So yeah, I don't want to use disparaging remarks about them. I think a lot of them they're somebody's daughter and sister that is at a spot in their life where they feel like that's all they can do and offer, and I just find that to be sad. I don't think it's good. So anyways, so somebody's asking about the Peak game. So if you guys haven't seen this yet, let me show you this. Hang on. I was looking for some Peak game stuff this morning to put it on the thumbnail. Let's see. Let's get the most recent story about this. Peak game, what is it? It was didn't they get 1 million or something? Here it is. Okay. Let's go. Let me get this nice and big on the screen so you can see it. Peak has now sold 2 million copies in just 9 days. As the devs reveal what's next for the co-op climbing game. Let's talk about what we're cooking. So if you haven't seen this game, it is let's see if we can go. Is this their page? No, let's see if they have a page for it. This is just going to be all their coverage. Hang on. Let me get the actual game up on screen so you guys can see what we're talking about. Peak Game Million. No, let's just go Peak Game. So it's on Steam, and it currently 17,000 reviews, a 92%. It's $8. A co-op climbing game where you work together to climb and you can fall. So obviously the hilarity and potential here is huge for streamers and people that want to yell at each other. It's been a wild time since launch. Peak managed to exceed our expectations of player count and hype by a lot. We just hit 2 million copies sold in 9 days. We seriously cannot thank you enough for all the love and support we've had on this game. For the record, that's an extra 1 million copies sold in just 3 days. So it's kind of taking the world by storm. So they're obviously right here. They're saying we're a small team. We really appreciate all the patience with us tackling bug reports. We're reminding ourselves to take breaks, fix bugs, and also appreciate the success of the project. So, you got to consider at $8, 2 million. It's like $16 million that these guys have generated in such a small amount of time, which is that's kind of like life-changing money for the studio, I'm sure. Insomniac Black with 3 months. Thank you so much, dude, for jumping back in over here on Team Purple. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. What is this? What is going on? Okay. I didn't know it was just going to randomly show up while I'm working. Main actor for Mind's Eye just criticized the company for releasing an unfinished game. Hang on a second. I know, I got the text. He didn't communicate with me. Let me I'll just quickly throw up the Peak Game trailer without sound because I don't want you guys to go crazy if it loops. I'll be right back, but this is the game we were just talking about. Okay, I'm back. Okay, they're getting to work. They're going to install 6 new backspins on the roof, and then they're going to put vents in the eaves where they're missing. So, sorry, I did not know he was going to show up like that. I thought he was going to call and schedule a time, but he said he told the office, he's like, we got to get over there and help this guy out. It's just been too hot. So I appreciate it. I do. I was just like, I'm not ready for this. Anyway, let's keep going. Looks like consequences of Builder Rocket Boy's actions are catching up with them. Yeah, they're doing layoffs. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yes, they're doing layoffs. And I did see, the main actor for Mind's Eye was criticizing the company for releasing a game that wasn't finished, which I think is fair. I do. I mean, imagine being that guy. His face is everywhere. Like, just do a search. Just do a search on YouTube for Mind's Eye, right? Do you want to be this guy? Do you want to be this guy? His face is now associated. His face is the poster for this game. Anytime you look up this game, it's his face. I mean, Charlie, we all think Charlie's handsome, but like, okay, there he is again. Okay? There he is again. Imagine that being you. What would that feel like? In this wonderful shot that's everywhere with his face, I would be so mad. I would be so mad, bro, if you were that actor, and that's what basically your face now represents is one of the worst games of 2025. A 5 spot from Aesthetic Perfume. Hey Forge, enjoy the stream like always. You think the next week Microsoft layoffs will bring studio closures? My guess is Undead Labs will be hit hard. I do not have speculation about any closure of studios, but yeah, probably. I don't know which ones, but it wouldn't shock me at all if we see studios close next week. I really hope it's not. But from what Jason Schreier is saying, it's going to be pretty extreme. So it's rumored to be 100. It's rumored to be 1,000 to 2,000 folks. Yeah, that almost guarantees studio closure. Like, that's so big. That's a lot of people. How do you think Gollum feels? Poor dude. It could hurt chances with future roles. Well, yeah, because if you're gonna put him in your game, everybody's gonna say that's bad for our marketing. His face is associated with one of the worst games of the last, like, it's up there with like Concord and the day before. I refuse to believe anything as no one knows anything yet. What are you referring to? The layoffs? I don't think Jason Schreier has a batting average that would make you be skeptical of what he's saying. I mean, listen, he tried to tell people about Marathon, and people did the exact same thing. People did the exact same thing. Well, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, do you believe him now? Should have delayed it to focus on one system to optimize. Well, we have a video on the channel if you guys want to check it out later. It's called The Truth About Mind's Eye, and the truth about that game is far bigger than what anybody really realizes. It is not just some game that got rushed out. They were trying to get, their everywhere game into the market quickly, because I think they thought they could be one of the first ones to have it. Hangry Higgs, thank you so much for using your Prime. That's 5 months. Guys, make sure on YouTube you've taken a quick second to smash that like button. I greatly appreciate it. And it really is helpful to us when you guys hit that like button. We're trying something a little bit new today. I don't think really have anything major in the title or the topic. We're just kind of going free form today. So if you have not already hit the like button, hit it. If you like this more free-form format, be sure to show up every day to this talk show, and we'll keep doing it. If you feel like that is that's a better format, if you like you can engage, if you feel like you can engage with the content in a better way when it's more free-form, then show up. That helps me. You show up, you lurk, you listen, you like. That encourages us to continue to do this format. Microsoft tends to lay people off and then replace them with contractors, so their layoffs are not as devastating to the company as people assume. Do you have any evidence of this? Like, where do you see this happening? I don't see that. I've not seen any evidence. I've not seen a single article. I've not seen anybody make that claim before that, well, they just replace them with contractors, so their layoffs are not as devastating. Also, let's just take your claim at face value. I think your claim is easily falsified with what happened to 343 and Halo Infinite. Half the company was on a contract. The autopsy from Jason Schreier on Halo Infinite was that half of 343 was on a contract, which means every 18 months, those people are walking out the door because of a Microsoft policy. So even your claim at face value, I think, is difficult for me to believe that, it's not that devastating. You just lay thousands of people off, replace them with contract workers that have to be onboarded. And then also 18 months later, all those contract workers have to leave because of a Microsoft policy. I can't hear that and think of any other word other than catastrophic. That can't be good for your company at all. 2,000 contractors at Xbox. Yeah, oh my word. Full-time employees getting replaced with contracts is a slap in the face, especially if you have a house and a mortgage. Fuzzy says it's ironic that the latest layoffs were almost 18 months to the day when you first covered it. That is interesting timing, Fuzzy. That is interesting timing. Not a good look for shareholders either. Their eyebrows will be shifting. The shareholders don't care about reduction of workforce. They care about profit margins. That's what they care about. They care about profit margins, boys. If the margins are good, then they're happy. They absolutely do not care about like reduction of workforce. If anything, sometimes shareholders want to see reduction of workforce. What they'll say is, and I read an article about this that talked about how layoffs become almost like a social contagion, because you'll see companies doing layoffs and C-suite and board members and shareholders will say, well, why aren't we doing layoffs? Why aren't we doing reduction of workforce? Because what they know that leads to is greater margin. If you lower your operating costs, you almost instantly are making better margins when you do that, because you're still outputting the content. Like, take for example, what Bungie did. So they instantly lower their operating costs when they lay all those people off. So the money coming in now has a better margin versus operational costs. Does that make sense? Like, if I'm running a lawn mowing business and I have 5 trucks, okay, and one of the trucks is not really doing that much, okay, not really generating that much revenue for me, so I shut that truck down, I fire that guy, but we're still outputting basically the same amount of work. I basically have the other trucks pick up his jobs. Guess what happens? I am making more money, because I'm no longer paying that guy. I'm no longer servicing, gassing the truck or the tools on the truck. I basically just hand all of his work to my other guys, and I'm generating the same amount of revenue, but I'm operating at less cost to myself. I now am making more money. So when you think about production costs of these companies of this size, your shareholders are not going to be like, oh no, they're never going to pearl clutch over reduction of workforce. If anything, they like it to a certain degree. Contractors versus employees. What's this link? Contract replace employers. Is it a massive shift to the contractor model? You found an article to support your claim, which doesn't have anything to do with Microsoft or the studios at Microsoft. You have not substantiated your claim that replacing a bunch of full-time workers at development studios with contract workers is not destructive to the workflow. You have not. No, you would have to look at what happened to 343 and just admit that no, it's not true. It simply isn't true that, it's not that, what'd you say? It's not as devastating to the company as people assume. I just don't agree. I think replacing people who have institutional knowledge and experience, and they've got workflow and they've got camaraderie and they've got rapport, yanking those people out and replacing them with somebody who can only be there for 18 months, to say that that's not going to have a negative effect on the work, I think is, I can't agree with that. Your assumption is the studios will close. I didn't say that. No. My statement is that, no. My assumption is not that studios will close. I did not say that. I said it's likely, given the number and given the language that Jason Schreier was using. I said it's likely, when you're laying that many people off, yeah, it's likely that you're going to see entire studios shuttered. I didn't say, well, I'm assuming they're going to shut down studios. No. Also, let's say they don't shut down a single studio and they're just laying off like, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there, a couple hundred there, whatever. And then they replace them with contract workers. Based on what happened with Halo Infinite, I would say That is everything I was worried about. That's everything I was worried about when I said, and I said this more recently when I said I would not want Microsoft to buy WB. And people get very upset at this because they're like, well, you're biased and you think it's okay for PlayStation to buy them, but not Microsoft. Well, I haven't watched PlayStation do what Microsoft has now done. In the span of 2 years, Xbox has done, this will be their 4th layoff in 2 years, and the number is astronomically higher than anything PlayStation has done. The same goes for Embracer. The same goes for Ubisoft. These companies have proven to not handle their size very well. So no, I wouldn't want Embracer or Ubi or Microsoft to own more studios or more property. That is a completely logical take. It's based on pattern. It's based on recent history. It's based on quite literally what we're seeing take place in the market right now is these companies get too large, operational costs get too large, and then the studios pay the price. And then we get less product as a consumer. So no, I don't. This is what's interesting. In this discussion, no one ever says that I'm wrong. They don't say that I'm wrong. They're not like, no, he's wrong. Xbox is great. Microsoft is great. That's not what they do. They completely dodge that, and they just wail on me. Do you see? Oh, well, you're just a pony. You're just biased. Well, now, hang on a minute. Am I wrong? Let's talk about whether or not I'm wrong, not talk about whether or not I'm a pony. Am I wrong? Is Microsoft demonstrating that, like, they do a good job when they buy a bunch of studios? Are they demonstrating that that's good for us? Are they demonstrating that that's good for the consumer? I don't think they're demonstrating that. I think they're demonstrating that they are so large and operational costs are so incredibly high that they almost have to, and again, this is because they answer to the shareholders, they have to do this. They are beholden to the shareholders. They don't really have an option here. I'm not acting like they're evil for doing it. That's another thing that I'm not saying. Right? I am not saying that they're... Who ticked off Lono? He on strike again? What are you talking about? I'm right here, John. Is John not able to watch the stream? Did something happen on YouTube? I'm not even saying they're evil or bad for doing it. I'm saying this is the natural way of things. It's like a law of nature. It really is. It is. It's like a law of nature. When you suddenly own that much property and you suddenly own that many studios, homies, you're gonna have to do what they're doing. They have to answer to the shareholders. And the shareholders are gonna say, you spent $80 billion in acquisition. Your operational costs have skyrocketed accordingly. What are you doing to address that? You can't just keep burning this level of fuel and cash. Can I ask a very basic question? Is gaming a high margin or low margin industry? I'm asking on average. Some games hit and some games miss. Here's what's really interesting about that question, Zubair. It feels like lately, games either go insane, Expedition 33, this peak game on Steam, Schedule 1, or they crash and they burn. Concord, Mind's Eye, Splitgate's in bad spot too, like they're laying people off, the founders aren't even taking a salary, like, I don't know. The games that just sort of get by and make the money they need to make are probably like, whew, like, oh man, you're either flying so close to the sun that it's probably terrifying, to have this explosive success, because that can actually be kind of scary. I'm sure the money's great, but it puts probably a massive amount of pressure on the studio to act quickly, fix things quickly, react fast, right? Or you crash and you burn. That thought led to the question was that Microsoft acts like they're in a high-margin industry, but they actually slim margins mean they're always on the edge. Gaming isn't Windows money. I get what you're saying. Guys, take a quick second on YouTube and hit the like button. I appreciate the turnout today. We're going very free form today. I didn't really have an agenda or topics, so you can bring up topics that you want to talk about. And right now we're talking about like the impending layoffs and what it means, studio closures, etc. Are all these upcoming layoffs going to be under the Xbox umbrella, or are they spread throughout all of Microsoft? So Lone Wolf, that's an excellent question. And a single comes in from Stonespire. I know what he's doing. He says, boys, we have got to kick it into high gear. You guys are going to need to really, really rally, and a 20 bomb will get us to the next milestone. I currently owe 10 to YouTube. A 20 bomb will get us to the next one. Easy time to steal. Purple, you could steal it. Team Red, you could steal it. If you're watching on YouTube, though, make sure you have hit the like button. Double check and make sure it's saved. Let's get to 200 likes really quickly because we've been live for about 55 minutes. Do you think Guitar Hero or Rock Band will ever have a resurgence? I don't know. That kind of falls into like peripheral land, where like when you have to buy the peripheral, there are going to be people that just don't want to do that. I also wonder if it has sort of run its course. Hang on. Okay. Oh, awesome. Awesome. It is time. Okay. The Menace over here with 15 months. Thank you so much for 15 months on Team Purple. Guys, make sure you're checking those primes. Those support me. If you're paying for Prime, you get to do that for free every single month on my Purple, and it supports me. So thank you for doing that. This is what Jason said. So yeah, let's just read what Jason said. All right, let's just have it on the screen. And if you guys have got articles or videos you want me to react to, we're going more freeform with the show today. So just, bring it up. So, breaking, Microsoft is planning major job cuts at Xbox that will begin next week. Sources tell Bloomberg News. Not yet clear how many people, but it's expected to be big. This will be the fourth mass layoff at Xbox in the last 18 months. So, in less than 2 years, they're hitting their fourth one. Yeah. Chris Avallone joins Adam Williams to work on the new title inspired by the golden age of RPGs. Really? Backed by Kraft, and the game features customization, branching story, etc. Brian and Amelia Descartes will also star. Well, good for him. Good for him. Chris Avallone was very kind to me in the wake of everything that happened with him and me. Yeah. False allegations are not a cool thing, and he got public retractions and a settlement, so good for him. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, it seems to be it is going to be hitting Xbox. It is. People being kind to you, that's gross. I know. Why would anybody ever do that? How do you think the grifters will spin the Xbox layoffs? I'm not really interested in what other people are saying about it. I just really want to focus on what I'm going to say about it. I think we've gotten too often we've gotten pulled into wasting a lot of time and effort responding to people saying things that aren't worth a response. Like deep down they know what they're saying is sort of bogus, but they're just sort of saying it. I don't know. I would rather just tell you what I think and interact with what you guys think and have less concern with what all these other people are saying. I don't know. Thank you, Edward Holtz, for 23 months. Looking forward to playing Hellblade again on the PS5 version when it releases alongside the sequel in August. Yeah, I am not interested in Hellblade 2, but the PS5 version of Hellblade 1 I am actually more interested in, funny enough. And thank you for that. We are now at 307 on the week. If you guys hit 500, you unlock the Friday night stream. My sister-in-law is going to be back in town again until like Saturday morning. So you guys have got to let me know. Do you want to do another music night? Do you guys want to unlock I don't think you're going to be able to unlock an album. I don't think so, because that was 1,000, and we're not even close to the 500 at this point. I mean, we are, but we might not even hit the 500. You do another music night, or do you want to make Madam play Death Stranding, and we would just bump that to Saturday night? You guys have to let me know what you'd like to do. Yeah. Lono, on some real talk, this show is what the industry needs. We need to save the gaming landscape. I mean, I'm not trying to save the gaming landscape. I just would like to, Stonespire says Jackbox. Oh, a peak community night. We could do that. That would be so fun. Oh my gosh, let's do that. Yes. Peak with the community. I tell you what. It's insane. I don't think you guys could pull it off. It's insane. But what we could do a double header, but you guys have to bring the heat. You'd have to bring the heat, and we need it. The roofer's here. You'd have to bring the heat. Listen. Double header. If we hit, I feel like we should make it really high, like we did for the album. If I'm gonna do a Friday night and a Saturday night stream, you want to see the sister? That's not gonna happen. She is Madam's identical twin, so don't you doubt us, you son of a... Alright, so here's the deal. Double header. Madam will do Death Stranding on Saturday night, and we'll do community game night Friday night if we do what we did last week, if you guys can get it to 1,000. I don't think it's possible. I really don't. She's a twin. Yeah, identical. They look a lot different now, but when they were younger, it was like hard to tell them apart. I can pick Madam out in pictures when she's a kid. Like I can tell it's all in the chin. They had different chins when they were kiddos. So yeah, they look a lot different now though. Now that they're older, like I would never confuse them. Like it's not even like that. So. Okay. Yeah, so there it is. That's the gauntlet. You guys can do a double header, a Friday night and a Saturday night stream. I know we're super far behind, so you're going to have to call from the gods on high to get it there. But we've gone crazy. We've had crazier results. Getting 700 members between today and tomorrow is certainly something you guys have done. You guys have done that in a single day before, so it's possible. So we'll see. You could have had so much fun with them, had her play next to you. You guys would not have fallen for it. Yeah, you wouldn't have fallen for it. You would have immediately known. They don't look that much alike anymore. Their voices are different. Their mannerisms are different. They're even built a little bit different now. Like you just wouldn't have fallen for it. So there it is. There's your gauntlet. Double header. That's a big one. I don't know. You can still like Friday night we'll do if you guys get to the 500. We'll do that if you get to the 500. Yeah. Is Hellblade 1 coming back to PlayStation? It never left. They're doing a PlayStation 5 version of it though to celebrate PlayStation getting Hellblade 2. I followed the game for a little bit and I'm not sure it's going to ever release in a state that's been perceived as my thoughts. I believe the publisher is the same company that did Atomic Heart. Which game are you talking about, Harbinger? If the sister was nice to you, we would know straight away. She's more cutting than Madam. Yeah. Like, they're both sharp. You know, Madam's like a kitchen knife. Her sister's like a machete. So... And you guys, I'm telling you, you wouldn't have fallen for it. They don't look alike. She'd have been in the chair for 2 seconds, and you'd be like, that's not Madam. More cutting than Madam? That's impossible. Can we get 10 more likes on the video, guys? Thanks so much. We ran a little bit of an experiment today. I feel like it's gone really well. I mean, there was like nothing that strong in the gaming news cycle, so we just kind of went generic. So you guys can bring up anything right now. You can use the Discord. You guys can use the Discord if you want to if you want to submit like an article or a video. So, Lono, that is 2 different types of sharp considering what a machete is used for. I'm just telling you. Like, I'm just letting y'all know. How about that F4 trailer? Huh? So they're both roasting Lono. Yes. When she's in town, I'm sort of MIA about as much as I possibly can be. I mean it. I don't enjoy being the punching bag. I sort of disappear pretty regularly. I'm like, yeah, y'all have fun. I'm out. I'm gonna go in the basement and play games. We get along. It's not like that. It's not like toxic. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go play video games. I'll hang out with my niece and my nephew. We have fun. They're sweet kiddos. But when they start picking at me, I'm like, all right, I'll see you guys later. Because I can be a lot more mean, and I just don't want to. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This will go to the bad place. You know what I mean? I saw last updated for GTA 5 in December this year. Huh. Some real twin energy. Oh yeah. You think sisters are bad? Be careful marrying a twin, boys. You better I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you to be careful. Just be careful. You have been warned. You have been warned. All right. Let's get it back to gaming and not my in-laws. And let's get the members going, boys. You guys got a big one to try to hit. And you're going to need some help. You're going to need some help. You're going to have to bat signal. You're going to have to bat signal your way in here. Yeah, I tried to be diplomatic with the stop killing games thing. People don't appreciate my phrasing. They're saying, not acknowledge, more like he's continuing to think he's in the right. He's a piece of crap that's incapable of admitting that he's wrong. He's a moron. I was just trying to give Keith the info, which, like, I hate to call somebody out in the public like this, but I think Mighty Keith deserves it. So I'm just going to show you guys his reply to my tweet. And I just want to take this time to express my utter disappointment in what he said, okay? So I take the time to catch Mighty Keith up on the situation with Stop Killing Games. And he replies with, well, and I said to him, I expect better from you, Keith. You didn't reply with, boy, that's just crazy. I thought I knew you. I mean, listen, I'm not in support of cancel culture, but I really feel like this is kind of the end of Keith's career right here. I mean, right, this is just crashing and burning, like, come on, man, I just wanted a little, boy, that's just crazy. But he says, well, so I hate to call somebody out, especially somebody whose content I really enjoy. But I'm just gonna have to do this on stream. I'm sorry. It's over. It's over, boys. I was like, really? Wait, what's he think? He says here about the Superman clip. This feels like a scene from, hang on, let me pause this. This feels like a scene from TAS Superman from when I was a kid. I'm so hyped for this movie. Please, James Gunn, let this be the one. Don't F it up. All right, he's back. He's back in. I'll follow him again. I literally said this morning that I thought that scene was totally fine. I feel like there's just so much forced negativity around that movie. I'm like, what the frick is everybody, huh? It's a completely fine scene. They're like, this is so dumb and cringe. Okay. So what you're saying is we hit the milestone. We're going to have a good old-fashioned back of the bus roast session where Lono gets to take the gloves off. Now, I did not say that. You're trying to get me in trouble, and I don't appreciate it, Insomniac Black. I said that you guys would get a double header. You'll get a Friday night community game night, and we'll have Madam play Death Stranding too. Okay, we'll do that on Saturday. But you guys have really got to put some jet fuel in the tank. Okay, that's 1,000 is a ways away. It is. It is not. It is not. It is not close at hand. So y'all are going to have to put in the work. Okay. Everyone wants to rage bait nerd culture so they can get views. It's just forced negativity. It's just like, is it a superhero? Yeah. Is it really popular? Yeah. Let's just make fun of it and call it trash. Like, okay. Like, rake in the views, I guess. I don't know. When can we get that Andor stream? I don't know. I mean, we could. I can't do it next week because next week's the 4th of July. We won't be. We will not be streaming that night. We'll have to maybe move that to the 5th or not do one at all. Well, it depends on the what we do that week with the support. There's also a Soul section of Hollywood that has a raging hate. Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like those movies are the hardest to do. Superman movies are like the absolute hardest to do because everybody has like a preconceived notion. People are angry that in the clip he's showing emotion. I'm like, what? Like, just Google Superman angry. Like, Superman comic angry. And there's so many comics where he gets really angry. Like, what are we, Like, I again, do you just want the truth, justice, and the American way, Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. Like, is that the Superman that you want? Like, rescuing kittens from trees and old ladies from getting mugged? Like, that's what you want? Or do you want, like, a Superman that feels like real and interesting? And what the heck? Yeah, he's not a Vulcan. I don't get it at all. He's an alien? One of the beautiful things about the mythology of Kal-El is that he spends his most formative years with human parents, which would then meet out in his life as an adult. It's got to be what I think is one of the best forms of his mythology, that the man that he is and the hero he becomes actually has more to do with his dad, which you would think people would be really on this train right now. Like, his traditional upbringing is one of the main reasons he ends up being a superhero and not an absolute blight on planet Earth. He's not a superhero because he's strong. He's a superhero because of the man that he becomes. Like, I don't get why this gets lost on people. It's like, there should be significant elements of humanity to him because he spends his most formative years on Earth with human parents. So, yes, this should be a complete aspect of his character. He should struggle with these things, and it should be terrifying because of how strong he is. Like, you better thank your lucky stars that he's like well-adjusted and responsible and kind, because if not, everybody would be dead or his servant. Like, his superpower is the ability to always do the right thing. The other stuff is just the bonus. Right, and again, that's not something that's in his body. It's in his soul, and it's put there by his parents. That's why I loved Man of Steel. That's why I loved Man of Steel, because it was more about when he has to kill Zod, like, he's heartbroken because now he's truly alone in the universe. He cries. He screams. It's wonderful. It's a great moment. Henry Cavill did an amazing job with that scene in particular. Thank you, Mick Pratt, for 25 months. New Superman looks decent, but not sure about crypto. Let me go ahead and add here 308, and let me add here 57. All right. Adam. No one saw Brightburn? No, I didn't see that. I heard it was really good, though. I subscribe to a guy that does comic book videos, and his last one was about Superman going mad. Like, times where Superman gets angry? Is that what it was about? I don't get where people come from on this, where like they're unhappy about everything they've shown so far. And I'm like, I think it all looks great. And I was super, super not on board. I was not on board. I felt like they did my boy Henry bad. It wasn't Henry's fault that all the movies were a disaster after, the origin story of Wonder Woman and Man of Steel. Everything after that was an utter disaster. And that wasn't Henry Cavill's fault. He was so perfectly cast. You think the tone is all wrong? I think the tone is a happy medium of what Superman represents and what superhero movies can be. Superman's got to be one of the toughest superheroes to do. Look at his dadgum outfit. Look at what he represents. Look at how he's commonly portrayed. Like, he's got to be one of the most difficult comic book heroes to turn into film. It comes off so unserious. But I think that's the difficulty with Superman. He's wearing what looks like a wrestler's, almost like a wrestler, like luchador outfit with a cape. He's got his underpants on the outside and big red boots. And it's like, it's very difficult to take the iconography of Superman and translate it into a story that feels, super serious. I think one of the reasons that one of the first superhero movies we ever got that was like, in many people's mind was like the beginning of the better era of superhero movies was Iron Man, and it was because they could make the suit look awesome, and an Iron Man suit would never not look awesome unless you went like super corny, old school TV show comics where he looks like, something out of Lost in Space or something. So like I think Iron Man was the first time we were like, well, wait a minute. We can really make superheroes look awesome. I think Superman's very difficult to do. He is my favorite superhero, and I think he is the most challenging to do. And it's because of his outfit, it's because of his appearance, it's because of the mythos around him. It's like, well, he's a super powerful, always does the right thing, square jaw, like very cliche superhero. Like, it's like, well, how do you do that? Well, I tell you how you do it. You got to give him some humanity, but you also have to kind of keep it light. You can't go in the other direction. It wouldn't work. Man of Steel was about as close as you're going to get to a more serious tone, more darker tone Superman. And that's, I think, about as far as you can go. If you go too far in that direction, you're basically just doing Batman Who Can Fly, and it wouldn't work. Like, he needs to still be Superman. Reeve did such an amazing job with it. Yeah, I think he did. The classic ones with the John Williams score are fabulous, and they are cheating a little bit by using the John Williams melody. I think that actually helps significantly. Like when I watch the trailers, I get emotional. Superman is, to me, the superhero from my childhood. The nerdy guy with glasses is the hero. I mean, that means a lot to a nerdy kid with glasses who gets picked on all the time. It's like, well, this guy can be the hero. Hope is impossible without darkness. Yeah, but there's different forms of darkness. Darkness in Lord of the Rings is very, very different than the darkness in, in Captain America. Right? They're very different forms of darkness. You can have darkness and a threat to humanity and a threat to planet Earth, and it doesn't need to be dark in tone, like gritty and visceral. Like, you can have it be dark in his context. Like, dark in Superman's context is like going to feel a little bit monster of the week, because he's what else is going to really challenge him? What you need something that is of such huge threat. You can't have like somebody trying to get a weapon, like a bomb or something, or like robbing a bank. That's nothing. That's a play toy for Supes. You know what I'm saying? You almost have to take it there, and when you take it there, you're gonna lose that groundedness, that darkness, that darker tone. You're gonna have a monster of the week. You're gonna have superheroes that are as big and as, villains that are as big and as fast as him. And then again, that ends up feeling a little on the more cheesy side, where it's like everybody's just very strong. It's hard when your superhero is a 10. It is. Like, there's not much, you don't got a lot of headroom there. The villains in the situations that would threaten someone of his power would never be anything but dark. He's not a neighborhood's hero. Yeah, but again, a big, huge, fire-breathing kaiju monster is a dark version. That's darkness in the Superman world. Like, look at the comics. Look at the comics. Look at the famous instances of fights with Superman. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be some big world-ending thing. A big world-ending thing. A big monster. A big machine. Something. It doesn't need to be Darkseid. It doesn't need to be, like what they did with the Snyderverse, the Snyder Cut or whatever. It doesn't need to be that. Honestly, I feel like the Snyder Cut just felt like Lord of the Rings infected the DCU. It felt, I don't know, it felt thematically very non-comic book. It felt like I was watching something more fantasy than comic book. Superman desperately scanning the street during a fight to find the most morally acceptable car to throw at his opponent, knowing that not everybody has insurance and loss of transportation can ruin a life. A wave of incredible relief washes over him as he spots the hard geometric lines and the silver paintless sheen of a Cybertruck. Yeah, like, historically speaking, like, the villain that he really goes toe-to-toe with is a very wealthy, psychopathic genius called Lex Luthor. Like, come on. That's not that dark. That's not that dark. I think we also don't really know the tone yet. We just know the trailer's feel with editing and music and text overlays, etc. Also, Gunn is incredibly adept at balancing comedy and depth. Parasite, Lobo, Zod, Brainiac, and a few others challenge Supes all the time. Yeah, and my memory of Lex Luthor and Brainiac is they're not dark. They're the dark version of Superman. Right? The power and the strength and the intellect all dedicated to bad and evil. And it's not like this dark foreboding thing. It's the dark of his universe. Lex can be pretty dark. It's peak human intellect turned to do bad things. Yeah, sure. But I'm saying, I get that tone from the movie. I get the tone that, like, Lex is the very wealthy genius that wants to destroy. He wants to destroy Superman. Like, that's, I don't know. I don't feel like you need much other than that. I feel like that's sufficient. That's all you need. And then you got other people showing up, obviously. Lex is one of the villains in the new movie. That's what I mean. I feel like it's fine. I don't know. It's not a popular take, but I seriously do not like Snyder's Superman. Was really happy to see the colorful, hopeful Superman coming back. Please see my last. Hang on. I've not watched the new Fantastic Four trailer, no. Gunn can get dark in his movies pretty good. He showed that in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm from trailers alone, I am pleased with Gunn attempting to balance the tone and feel of classic Superman and, you know, wanting it to feel more like a modern day superhero movie. Like, it's got to be sort of, I think it has to be sort of in the middle, you know? I think it's sort of in the middle of he's got like this bright colored outfit. He's got this very sort of, you know, he's almost got a corny appearance, you know. Mighty Keith says, I support stop killing games, even though it threatens the ultimate nightmare scenario. Concord becomes playable. Wait, it wouldn't threaten that. That wouldn't threaten that. It would become playable. Or is he saying that is a nightmare? Technically, this is Gunn's first attempt at a major character as opposed to oddball characters like the Guardians and the Peacemaker. It's a great trailer. It hyped you up once. I've just been avoiding everything with Fantastic Four. I'm going to kind of prefer to go into that one with a little less information. Well, We're an hour and a half in, and our experiment has sadly gone well off the tracks. Oh my gosh. There is just nothing in gaming to talk about right now. There's nothing. We're talking movies. The issue so far is he's surrounding Superman with oddball characters. I mean, he is and he isn't. Surrounding him with oddball characters, but he's also got Lex at the center of things. How do I turn this priority thing off in email? See my message in Discord? I don't know what you're talking about. Where? Wolf, if it's not in live chat, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Mind's Eye wasn't the first bad game he was in. Oh, is that what you're talking about? Okay. You guys that are like, did you see the thing in Discord and you put it in members chat instead of the live stream chat? I want to body slam you every time you guys do it. You're like, why didn't you reply to me? Did you get my message? And you put it in the wrong place. I don't understand. Is that what you want me to see? He's an actor known for his voice and likeness in video games. This is what you want me to read here? He's most recognized for portraying Lincoln Clay in Mafia 3. He's also voiced Eli in Batman: The Enemy Within. Is this what you're making me look for? Wolf, answer me. You guys, you make my blood boil. Did you see the thing? Make me scroll up and look and don't tell me what it is? Come on. Derail the whole conversation. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. The hate for Mafia 3 is completely fabricated because they put a black man in the Mafia game. To your credit, Lono, it's a pretty big movie that deserves some combo. House Fantastic Four is looking pretty good as well. Yeah. That's the one I'm avoiding trailers on that. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, good or bad? Everything I've seen from Wu Chang Fallen Feathers looks really, really good, except for there seem to be dust particles, particle effects, flashy explosions from like every attack. You know what I mean? Like let me just try to find like the latest video and just show you what I'm talking about. Wolf Saint says yes. I don't think scrolling back up that didn't feel like it was worth a revisit, homie. That did not feel like it was worth a revisit. It was very minor topic. His face is associated with that game. You're like, well, he was in a lot of bad games. You want to make me scroll back up for that? Okay, so look at what I'm talking about here. Every attack has smoke, feathers, flashes, explosions. Do you know what I'm saying? This might not be the best trailer for it. This one's a little bit too flashy. Like a lengthy fight really shows what I'm talking about. I think this game looks so cool. I think it looks very, very well done. Yeah, this is a terrible trailer to showcase what I'm talking about. Here's an 8-minute video from IGN. This might be it. Let me advance it. You see what I'm saying? Like, look, what was that? I can't even see. I can't be the only one that's watching this, and I'm like, I can't see what's going on. Do you see what I'm talking about? That's cool, though. I'm going to have hands-on sticks to make up my mind about this one, because in the trailer, I'm like, I can't see what's going on half the time. Like, they'll do a big attack, and then, like, there's this big, huge flash and explosion, and I'm like, wait, what? I couldn't see anything. There was one fight against a she's like flying around. She's like a woman that you're like, you track her down and you talk to her, and then she like jumps down and you start fighting her. Like this stuff, even the sword slash has visual effects on it that I don't know if they're necessary. I mean, look at how much visual distortion is happening just from the swing of the sword. You see what I'm saying? The entire center of the image is distorting. Look at that. From a sword swing. I'm telling you, there's this visual pollution going on in so much of just like parries and swings and abilities. Like I don't, it's to me, it's kind of a turnoff. I like this game. I think this game looks good. I've been following it for a long time. But the more I've seen, I'm like, man, I don't know. I feel like it's like there's so much going on the screen in fights. Number one, it's a concern for performance. Is it going to cause an issue with frame rate? Right? Is it going to cause frames to dip and drop? But there's big, huge visual swipes and distortions for every move. And then there's like explosions of dust, smoke, feathers, particles, sparkles, glitter. Like, you know what I mean? There's just a lot going on. Now, if once you get hands on sticks, it's easy to kind of see through the fog of war and it's not that big of a deal, then it's not a concern. At that point, then the only concern would be, is it going to cause issues with performance, right? Is it going to cause like frame dips? Is it going to cause, is it going to make the game kind of act up? Like there's just so much going on in the boss fights. Like here, the boss like practically disappears for an entire section there. I can't tell where he goes from one scene to the next here. And like he reappears, you know what I'm saying? After like all your stuff's done. Like think about it like this: if while you're doing this, see what I'm saying? He does something in the midst of that. You're not. How am I going to see the telegraph through that? No, seriously, tell me. In the midst of this, there's a telegraph that takes place. You can't even see the enemy. How am I supposed to read the telegraph of the enemy? He isn't visible. I see nothing wrong. Looks good to me. Okay. There's your telegraph right there. He's breaking through all of that visual pollution. I don't know, boys. Yeah, maybe you got to rely on audio cues. I had the same problem with FF16 and sometimes with Wukong. I can agree. I am not hating on the game. I'm not. I think the game looks good. I've been interested in this game for a very long time. I mean, they got a little cheek thing going on here that a lot of people are probably going to be very excited about. But there is so much happening from just even some of the most basic attacks. Like, watch this one right here. This spin that she does. Look at that. There's so much happening. Again, my concern is that going to affect performance? Are my frames going to drop into the dadgum toilet every time I do something big or the enemy does something big, like that's going to affect frame pacing. That's going to affect iframes. It's going to affect your dodge windows, your parry windows, your block windows. You know what I mean? I think you're getting slow with your reflexes. You can't see the enemy in some of these sequences. And again, it could be one of those things where once I've got my hands on the sticks, it's like, oh no, it's not an issue. You can see, hear, and you can anticipate enemy telegraphs just fine. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's perfectly legitimate to say, well, once you get your hands on it, it might be different. Every trailer I've seen since they started showing gameplay, I've thought, man, there is just an awful lot of visual pollution going on in these fights. It gets to the point where it's extremely difficult to even see the enemy. If I'm playing the game, is that going to make it difficult to see an enemy, telegraph through that fog and that chaos? So, I am not trying to preemptively, criticize a game. I'm just giving you my opinion and feedback. Is this seems pretty extreme. They've really turned up the visual flourishes to like 11. Same as Kazan in my opinion. Yeah, Kazan can get a little busy, and there are times where I feel like it does. It affects the gameplay. I feel like it makes it hard to see what's going on. FF16 didn't have a single fight that had visual pollution. I don't know who said that. FF16 said that, but it didn't. I don't know. It got pretty wild in some of those fights. I will say from a visual and inventory standpoint, this is the most ripped off looking Souls-like I've seen. I don't know if I agree with that. I do not know if I agree with that. The icon fights, maybe. Yeah, it got pretty busy in some of the fights. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it looks like 1-to-1. Do you have specific examples? Like, what's 1-to-1 in what we just saw? Are you going to watch Ironheart? No. I don't have any interest in that show. I've got so many shows I'm trying to catch up on. That's like the last show I would spend a minute on. Anyone tired of the sheer volume of the gothic monster hack and slash whatever games? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I don't know if they've really run their course. Did you finish Tilu Season 2? No. I never watched the season finale, and I never will. I probably won't even watch Season 3. I'm over it. I have no interest. Season 1 was perfect. After that, that show doesn't exist to me. I don't have any interest in watching it ever again. There's so much superior television out there. I'm not going to waste another minute on The Last of Us. Season 2 was just what a disaster. What a waste. What a waste of one of the best pieces of video game property out there. Just abysmal. Just abysmal. Yeah. You're invited to the cookout. You got to watch it. I am not watching Ironheart to maintain my invitation to the cookout. I just have no interest in it at all. Like, I'm sort of burned out on Marvel. It doesn't look interesting in the least. It's not a show for me. I can just tell. Like, I barely got through She-Hulk. I don't think I'll make it. I'm just so over so much of Marvel. I'm just so over so much of Marvel. I would rather watch, we're watching Severance. I would much rather after that watch like Silo. There's so many shows I've seen trailers for on Apple TV that interest me far more than like more Marvel. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, I watch the trailers and I'm like, It's like I feel like I'm watching a trailer for like a CW show. I'm like, I just don't care. It's like I hit the peak of Marvel greatness with Endgame, and ever since I've just been like, like anything I watch, I'm just kind of like, it just doesn't do anything. Like, we still haven't watched the Captain America movie. It's on Disney. Just don't have an interest. I just don't care. Thunderbolts, I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Because, like, there was a time there where I was like, yeah, if it's more Marvel, I'm having a good time. You know, I watched a handful of the Marvel things after Endgame, and I had a perfectly fine time. Like, I actually liked Loki a lot more than other people. I liked WandaVision a lot more than other people. You know, I enjoyed them quite a bit. But then I saw trailers for Thunderbolts, and then I saw trailers for Captain America, and I was like, I don't care. You know, I enjoyed Hawkeye. They're not compelling. I think that's part of the problem is, like, I've not spent any time with them, so it's just like, oh, this is another person that can do superhero things. Cool. Like, the reason that WandaVision had some staying power with me, and even Multiverse of Madness and Hawkeye, is because I had attachments to the characters. I was familiar with the characters. We're to the point where I'm like, I don't really know who you are, and I don't really care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just so shrugged-shouldered about MCU now. Like, Robert Downey Jr., like, taking the mask off with Dr. Doom, that did nothing to me. I was like, huh? I was like, flat response. So, I don't know. I've got really limited time to, like, watch content with my wife, and, like, we just get nothing from those films and shows now. We're just kind of like, we're on our phone when the show's on. You know, does that make sense? Like, we didn't do that with Loki. We didn't do that with WandaVision. We were, like, interested in what was going on. But, like, if we watched Ironheart, we would both be on our phone the whole time. I know we would. We'd be like, we just wouldn't care. But, like, when Severance is on, when we're watching, like, The Chosen, you know, when we watch, like, Alfred Hitchcock, like, I'm not on my phone. I'm interested in what's going on. I'm, like, paying attention. Just need to watch Vikings. I don't know if we're going to be able to get Madam into Vikings, boys. You guys keep trying to sell that one. I don't think so. Daredevil. Even Daredevil, the most recent season, I don't know. I was just kind of like, I literally just got to the end and was just kind of like, okay, that was how I felt. I'm not kidding. I got to the end, I'm like, okay. Yeah, Super Gaming. When I was playing Death Stranding 2 last night, I'm walking up a hill, and Dolman says something about grief. And I'm like, that's the guy that plays Jesus in The Chosen. I was like, I know that voice. It was bothering me. I was like, I know this voice. Why do I know this voice? I always like to try to figure it out on my own. And I'm like walking up this hill, and he says something about grief. And I'm like, that's the guy that plays Jesus in The Chosen. So I looked it up, and I was like, I got it. I nailed it. So I had him talk, and I was like, I asked Madam, I was like, can you tell who this is? And she couldn't figure it out. Yeah, she couldn't figure it out. So, you're going to watch Fantastic Four or nah? I think I'm going to watch Fantastic Four mainly because the morbid curiosity of, like, are they going to pull it off? We love Vanessa Kirby from The Crown. I like Pedro Pascal, even though people are like, he's in too much. I also love the guy they got for Human Torch from Stranger Things. I think he's great. Voice actor for The Thing is fantastic. He was great in Andor. He's been great in other things. So yes, that has my interest for lots of reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like that has my interest, but like, Ironheart or what's some other Marvel stuff coming? I'm just like, I just don't have any care. I don't care. I'm like, I don't have time to watch another 2-hour long Marvel movie with characters I don't really care that much about, whether it's the Captain America movie or the Thunderbolts movie or Ironheart. I literally feel nothing. I don't feel negative. I'm not on like the hate train. I don't feel any negativity for them. Who's playing Human Torch? This guy. Remember him from Stranger Things? He's awesome. He's super talented guy. Yeah, I was really excited to see him cast in the role. Joseph Quinn is his name. And, yeah, he was so good in Stranger Things. He was like, he kind of stole the show. Not literally, but people really liked him. Yeah, Eddie. People really, really liked his character. So. I'll bet you 20 members you actually end up really enjoying Thunderbolts. I'm not telling you that I wouldn't enjoy it. I'm telling you that I don't care. Right? Like, I don't feel any active negativity or animosity towards the movies. I just forget about them the minute they're not in front of me. Does that make sense? Like, I don't feel anything. I'm just like, oh, another Marvel movie. And I go about my day. But like my friend told me about Severance, and I was like, well, I want to watch that. I hear, that The Chosen's new season's on Amazon. I'm like, babe, we got to get through Severance because we got to go back and watch The Chosen. I hear or see a trailer for something with Marvel, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not angry. I'm not pessimistic. I'm not negative. I'm just like, oh. And then I go about my day. I don't remember it. There's no anticipation in my bones. I feel nothing for it. Yeah, apathy's a killer. Yeah, I just don't feel anything. I'll be honest with you. I'll say it. I'm going to say it out loud. Deadpool versus Wolverine, it was fun, and that's it. That's all it was. Nothing to it other than just, yeah, that was fun. That's Deadpool and Wolverine, boys. That's Hugh Jackman. That's like the character that most of my emotes are based upon. And I literally rolled credits on Deadpool and Wolverine. I was like, well, that was fun. And then I forgot about it. I'm telling you, the 10-year journey to Endgame, I sat in that theater and I thought, as they were all coming together for that final fight, one side's running and this side's running, I said to myself, this is it for me. This is peak cinema. This is my Star Wars. This is my generation Star Wars. I will never be here again. I just knew it as it was happening. There was a sense of excitement layered with some level of grief. It was like, I'll never experience this ever again in the movie theater. It was a decade buildup. I don't think you could ever recapture that. Deadpool and Wolverine was awesome. Y'all need therapy. Did I say it wasn't awesome? I said it was fun, and then I forgot about it. It was an egregious amount of the F word and violence, nonstop, with great fan service, good fun action, hilarious moments, and that was it at the end. I was like, okay, that was fun, and then I forgot about it. I haven't forgot about the poignant moments in the 10-year MCU lead up to Endgame. They hit the ball all the way out of the park, and then from then on out, I just feel like they're putting people on base. Does that make sense? That's what Endgame felt like. It was a grand slam. It was a bases loaded. The ball goes all the way out of the park, over and outside of the park. Like nobody can even touch it. That's how far they hit that movie. And ever since then, I'm like, they're just putting a man on base. They're not failing. They're not floundering. It's not like the movies come out and they're horrible. I mean, there's been a couple that have been arguably not great. But, like, they're loading up for the next Grand Slam. Not for me, they're not, because I don't care. I was invested. I went to the theaters with my friends. I went to the theaters with my wife. Like, I was invested in that 10-year buildup. I have no investment in the new group. I do not care. I'm happy for people that are enjoying it. I mean, Florence Pugh is just great, but I don't even think she can maintain my interest. I mean, she's no ScarJo. Even that's not going to be enough. And that's superficial anyway. Ooh, she's hot. Like, okay, well, that's not enough to carry a movie. ScarJo didn't even carry those movies with her hotness. She carried the movie with her emotional range, which she doesn't get enough credit for. To this day, I feel she has the greatest range of emotion, and she has the best character arc, only outdone by Tony Stark. I think ScarJo's Black Widow, over the course of those 10 years, is the best character arc, the most emotional range that you get. I don't think anybody else compares to her. The only one who outdoes her is Tony Stark, because everybody else largely stays the same. Every other character largely stays the same. Third place is Thor. Third place is Thor. The emotional range and the journey that you get with Thor, I think, is quite good. I do. I think it's quite good. So it's like emotional range and transformation and an interesting character arc. It's like Tony Stark, Black Widow, Thor. Everybody else pretty much stays the same the whole time. Hulk? No, they ruin Hulk. No. They ruin Hulk. Hulk is cool for the... Hulk is cool in Ragnarok. After that, he's lame. He's so lame. They ruined him. Yes, sir. My son says if anybody thinks Thor is stupid, they're stupid. Cap changed as well. He didn't change that much. No, just slipping into disappointed dad voice again. I think Guardians carry the whole ship. With Guardians of the Galaxy, the whole thing falls off. Oh, without them? I don't think they carry the whole ship. They do good. They do a good job. Cap's the same through every movie. Yeah, Cap doesn't change almost at all. He doesn't change much at all. Your opinion of her character would change after watching Thunderbolts? Oh, I like her. I think she's very funny. I think she was great in Hawkeye, and she was great in the Black Widow movie. I like Florence Pugh. I do. She's super charming. She's a smoke show. She's a good actor. But I think y'all are missing the point. I just don't care. I can't. I feel nothing. I feel nothing for... Yeah, Loki's got a great arc in the show. Thank you for bringing up Loki. Agree. Tom does an excellent job with that character. It's like I feel nothing. I don't know. It's a form of burnout. It's also like I just don't have any attachment to the characters. I don't really feel a draw to become attached to the characters. There's just other movies and shows I'd rather watch. I would rather watch Alfred Hitchcock with my wife, or rewatch The Twilight Zone with my wife, or watch Severance, or The Chosen, or Silo, or like, I don't know. There's other, it also comes down to interest. Like Madam and I enjoy mysteries and whodunits. We really, really liked the ones with Poirot, Murder on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express. Like, we really enjoyed those. We really enjoyed... I didn't like Agatha all along. It was all over the place. Agatha had good parts and bad parts. It was such a mixed bag. It was all over the place. Even the hottie from SNL couldn't turn that one around. Twilight Zone's a pretty good one. Twilight Zone, I think is the greatest television show ever made. I think you take the grand history of television from back then to now, I don't think anything beats Twilight Zone. I don't think anything ever will. Twilight Zone gave birth, and Hitchcock as well, gave birth to everything that we consume today. Rod Serling, as a prolific writer and director, Rod Serling quite literally has impacted all of television. There's nothing that you watch today that isn't at some level impacted by Twilight Zone. It's not possible. It isn't. Twilight Zone, the original, the classics, the first one with Rod Serling, is the greatest television show ever made. It will never be touched because its influence is too far-reaching. You can't, like, unknit the sweater. It's like, no. Twilight Zone's, like, woven into the fabric of what we consume today on TV. Twilight Zone and Breaking Bad. Yeah, I mean, Breaking Bad's up there, but, again, I don't think you can beat it. You grew up on the comics, all the annoying one-liner and weirdness like Thor trash-talking on Fortnite ruined it for me, seriously. Don't even get me started on the dance-off. Oh, that stuff didn't bother me. Better than Lost. You don't get to Lost without the Twilight Zone. If you don't see Twilight Zone's influence on Lost, you maybe haven't watched either show carefully enough. Like, you literally cannot get to Lost without the Twilight Zone. It's not possible. Sopranos? No. I'm telling you, you will not dissuade me on this. Twilight Zone is the greatest television show ever. I've never watched Twilight Zone. I'm missing out. You are missing out. You are. Oh my gosh. It is. This is okay. So this is an interesting discussion. So I saw somebody say that the comic relief of Esquier and Minoko is not talked about enough in Expedition 33. And you know what it reminded me of? We've talked about this before. We've talked about comedy and comic relief. And I've talked about a character in a movie that is funny for the same reason that Esquier and Minoko are funny. Do you guys know where I'm going? If you guys know where I'm going, you've been around a long time and you know the deep lore of our conversations. We've had this conversation before about, like, comic relief in a movie and why it works really, really well for some characters and why it doesn't work for other characters. And Esquier and Minoko fall in this category, I mean, perfectly. Perfectly. Okay? So, the reason that Esquier and Minoko work so well as comic relief is because they don't have moving faces. They have to be written and voice acted at such a good level. They lean on and must be funny and good in those environments because they can't rely on anything else. They can't rely on, like, slapstick or, like, goofy faces or, like, facial expressions or emoting. None of that's there. So the only way you're going to nail the humor is it's got to be both written incredibly well and then voice acted incredibly well. And I have made this argument before talking about why C-3PO and K-2SO are 1,000 times more funny. They're funnier than Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is refuse in comparison. C-3PO and K-2SO are the best humor in all of Star Wars, and that's why they have to be. There's nothing. It's a droid. So the writing and the voice acting has to be at such a good caliber of comedy or it won't work. It just won't. This is why Twilight Zone is the greatest television ever made. Because it can't rely on any of the cheap shortcuts that we have today. They had to nail the scenes. They had to nail the acting. They had to do things in one shot sometimes. They had to use trick of, shadows and silhouettes to create tension and fear and anxiety. They don't have all the things we had today. There's an episode where the guy's got his dead wife in the trunk, and the entire episode, you are on the edge of your seat, and there's no flashy anything. It's just a guy in his car on the road at a gas station, and there's a cop there. There's some other characters, not a large cast. And it must be good. It must be excellent writing, acting, and execution, or it doesn't work. That's why Twilight Zone is the greatest television show ever made. Because it had to rely on excellence in writing, creativity, good twists and turns. You had to have good actors, or it wouldn't have worked. When you're watching through the Twilight Zone, you'll notice there are so many big name actors in the show. This is kind of where they got their start. You'll notice, you'll recognize guys from the Dick Van Dyke Show. You recognize guys from, Bewitched. You'll see, what's his name? Burgess Meredith is in there, right? Mick from Rocky. He was the Penguin in the Batman show. Like, you'll see all these famous people, and this is where they got their start. That is why it works. There's not a world where you can make a TV show and make it that good. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Billy says, love the show, man. Appreciate all you do. And thanks so much for the $5. None of the writing is dated. Well, no. I mean, the writing is timeless because the writing is timeless because it had to be so good and so creative that it's like reading an old book. Like, if you read The Lord of the Rings now, it's timeless. It's 100% timeless. It's like it doesn't need to be updated, and this is why it's so frustrating when we get these horrible, like, modern interpretations of things where, they want to, like, change things with, like, classics, whether it's, C.S. Lewis's work with Narnia. We're hearing what they want to do with that. That's probably going to be a tragedy. Changing things with, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff. It's like, you don't need to do that. That's why that's so frustrating. That's why it was pretty disappointing that, like, Jordan Peele's version of Twilight Zone was so bad, because it was like, of all people, he should have been able to nail it. I mean, I don't know. Like, he seems like such a creative guy. I saw articles and stuff. It seemed that he didn't have enough creative control on the game. So, I'm sorry, on the show, not the game. Okay, so we tried something very different today, and I will say that we got fine results. We went very aimless today. I didn't, like, do a script for the show open. I've just been grabbing things from the gaming news. I mean, we're talking TV shows and movies, and we are relating it to elements of Expedition 33. I related it to Esquia and Monoko. You're saying, so in a way, Twilight Zone influenced Expedition 33? I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I was just drawing an analogy between... why the writing and the voice acting of Esquia, Monoko, C-3PO, and K2SO, to me, they're all in the same category. They simply must be good, they must be excellent, and they must be funny, or it wouldn't work, because you can't see their face. Okay? In a similar way, like, that's what I argued with Twilight Zone. It's like, Twilight Zone had to be excellent and innovative and creative and executed very well, or it wouldn't have worked. Nobody would have cared. It would have been like, this is bad. Just because, it was at the dawn of, like, television becoming so popular, that's not like a guarantee to success, because you could easily have people saying, oh, it's a boring show, or the twists and turns aren't very good, or, what have you. We got a video here from, let's see here. Hang on 1 second. Jolt's dude is showing Borderlands 4, showing that from the main menu to controlling the character is just 6 seconds. So he clicks on her, starting gameplay. Graphics are set to medium. Oh, he's playing on a PC. There you go. So Jolt's tweeting that out. Looks like we're getting some Borderlands hands-on from people. Apple's the best streaming platform right now. It's not even close. Every time I see a trailer for one of their shows, I'm like super excited to watch it. I'm like interested. I'm like, oh, that looks good. So, if you guys haven't hit like yet on the YouTube channel, please do so. We have a huge goal this week that we're probably too far into the week to hit it, but if we do hit 1,000, like last week we did the big album thing, and you guys seem to really enjoy that. This week, if we hit 1,000 on the week, I am going to do a double header. Comment for the algo machine. Please don't do this, LOL. Leave a genuine comment. This doesn't help. Yeah, guys, don't do that. Don't leave comments and say, I'm leaving a comment for the algo machine. Like, leave a genuine comment. I was asking folks to, earlier when we were waiting for the show to start, to throw some support at the Death Stranding video. Loving the game so far. I'm replying to some of your comments on my Death Stranding 2 video. Great video, really on point. By the way, no spoiler tag really helped. Glad you liked it. Thank you. The game is awesome. I'm glad I had the encouragement to get through the beginning of Death Stranding 1. I wouldn't have done it without your channel and your members. That's what I like to hear, man. I love hearing that, Dan. Congrats. It's good to know the beginning gets going faster. It is. I cannot freaking wait for this. It is so good. Are you impressed with Borderlands 4? I have said from the very first time that they did that stream where they were sort of showing the more open world aspects and like the double jumping, the gliding, and the combat, from that moment I have said this looks like the best Borderlands they've made. Did engagement increase after adding spoiler free? No. It might take a while for it to turn in the funnel. Right now, no. It upticked a little bit because you guys all went and watched it and left a comment, which I greatly appreciate you doing. We're going to take that feedback. This morning, I was expressing some confusion as to why we weren't getting great interaction with my Death Stranding video. It's a 5-minute video, very quick. It's a positive video. And we've done positive videos about the PS5 Pro, and we have a PlayStation audience here that I thought would be very interested in the video. And a lot of people said, like, a consistent piece of feedback was, I saw it and didn't click because I didn't want spoilers. And I'm like, oh, well, there's no spoilers in the video, but there's no way for you to know that unless you watch the first 30 seconds. So folks said, encouraged me to, well, put it in the title so that people know, and that might help. So we've added it to the title. What we've wanted to start doing is when a game comes out, instead of being like, well, it's going to take Lono a really long time to play it, so he can't really do a review. Well, we still want to make content with it. So I played the opening of Death Stranding 2. It was such a dramatic difference from Death Stranding 1. I wanted to make a video to be like, hey, this is one of the biggest improvements. If you skipped Death Stranding 1 for the same reason that like iFall started, and I eventually went back, but like if you skip Death Stranding 1, you know, this is going to be the difference between you maybe playing and skipping. The beginning is so much better. That's exactly why it didn't even realize that crossed my mind. Right. And so if we're going to make content about a game the week that it comes out, that was just good feedback. Like, we just need to make sure and stress to people, no spoilers. Like, there's no spoilers in the video. We'll put no spoilers, in the title. We maybe don't have to necessarily put it on the thumbnail, but we will make sure and include that. So tip for anyone playing Death Stranding 2, use the strand rope to tie up all the cargo in your backpack to ensure that it doesn't scatter in case you drown off a cliff. You can eventually unlock an enhancement that'll automatically bind all your cargo. Oh, that's nice. I almost didn't watch it, but I knew you wouldn't spoil, so I watched it. I mean, Creature said that this morning. He was like, you guys have known him long enough. He's like, I don't believe you. He's like, he thought that it wasn't like a really good reason, because he was like, you guys know that Lono's not going to spoil stuff. I thought that was fair pushback from Creature. Like, He's like, this guy's not gonna, this guy's not gonna spoil stuff. Like, you guys should know, like, I'm not gonna do that. Oh, the game just came out. I'm just checking the news feed, see if anything has come up. Borderlands is going to do... They did the community vote for this weapon. It's going to be called Forsaking Chaos. They let the community... It was like a tournament vote. It was actually pretty cool. And that's actually a pretty good name, too. I thought they landed on a pretty good name. Knowing that takes more thought than just seeing no spoilers. This is true. This is true. We are interacting with, people are going to be doing quick. You're either going to quickly click on something or you're going to quickly scroll past it. Looks like we got something on Rematch here. Rematch players have discovered that flopping around the field is faster than sprinting, but slow clap is going to stop the flop. We're planning a fix very soon. Rematch players on Reddit realize the optimal way to move around the pitch isn't by running, quite the opposite. It turns out by jumping for invisible headers and flopping around on the field is the best way to get about. A PC gamer tested this out. From its findings, it's almost a full second quicker to get across the field on average. Oh my gosh. It looks ridiculous. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, they need to fix that. It's so funny how you give players movement options in a game and it can turn into something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the intended use of that, but players are just going to figure it out. Like, and this is the thing about testing. There is no way they would have tested that internally and probably figured that out. There's just no way. Somebody did that by accident, and he beat his friend to the ball, and he thought, huh. And then he did it all the way down the field, and his friend was just doing like the sprint, toggle where you do a little bit of sprint, little bit of sprint, little bit of sprint. And it's like, oh no, I'm faster than you. Well, guess what? That's going to be all the difference in a soccer game. Right? That's the difference between getting to the ball and not getting to the ball in a soccer game. Hire a bunch of straight a-holes to figure this stuff out. Now, are you saying that hire straight a-holes or straight a-holes? I mean, there's a handful of ways of reading that, Zuby. You either don't think highly of straight people, or you're saying they need to just be straight up terrible a-holes. Zubair says, I mean sexually. The gays are too nice. Yeah. They're like, well, I'm not going to do that. That's good. That's good. All right. I tell you what we're going to do. We're fully off the rails, and I can't control the news. So when the news gets dry like this, we just sort of threw this show together. It's been fun. Let's try to get to 300 likes. I don't know what to say about where we've been trending on both Purple and YouTube. I don't know what's happened. I really hope it's a YouTube thing and not like a bunch of people just suddenly deciding that they don't want to come to the show. I feel like we're going to be a week or two out and people are going to be like, where have you been? Like, I didn't know you were streaming. I've been here the whole time. So I'm not really, I don't want to blame it on the news. I do think there is something kind of strange going on in general. Interest on both platforms is not great, and I'm not sure what happened. But I think what we should probably just do is the week is probably a wrap. We're probably done. We're cooked. Because tomorrow's Friday. I don't think anything major is happening. So I guess we should probably just go to Green Room. I mean, I'm sitting here right now scouring the news feeds for something to talk about. And I'm like, boys, there is nothing. I mean, when I say nothing, there is nothing. I mean, these guys are talking about movies and TV shows, which is what we did. I think that's what we always default back to. It's like, well, there's nothing to talk about. Let's talk about TV shows and movies. We do have something here. Tom Warren from The Verge heard from sources that Turn 10, the studio behind Forza Motorsport, is bracing for cuts. His thing is paywalled. Some managers have been briefed about the plans, and I keep hearing there'll be significant layoffs impacting Microsoft Gaming. We're all sort of in a holding pattern on that story as well. Like we don't have a clue when that's going to hit or how extreme it's going to be. Yeah. Did you answer my question? We've got 3 questions here. 2 from Perfect Image. Wait, what's going on? Oh, there we go. Since Diablo 4 is coming to PlayStation Plus, is that a good game? I have no idea. I haven't played it in a long time. I did not like it at vanilla. What are your thoughts on Zubitech analysis on PlayStation? I don't know what you're talking about. Kino Man Sky says, random question. Have you ever heard of Black Sails? If you like Black Flag, it's one of the best TV shows of all time. I've not heard of that. No. I think I saw a trailer for it once, but I'm not remembering it really. All right, I've cleared out the queue. Black Sails was pretty good. Great show. It's on Amazon Prime. First Ascendant just hit a year? It's been a year? I feel like it's been longer. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat for the YouTube boys. We're going to Green Room. This experiment went about the way I expected. Thanks so much for supporting the channel directly. If you're watching this later or you're watching it right now, you are a Member Plus or a VIP. Appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over. And